The sight at first took him aback, until he spotted his mother on the couch watching the child. She didn't look at him as he came over and sat down on the couch. "Mom, I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart, I am sorry. I was stupid and gullible and should have realized what would happen when..." But before he could continue, his mother stopped him. 4 months. 4 months of worrying and strife has fallen on me. I wanted to take my own life. Did you know that? I was so overcome by grief and self-loathing, I almost jumped off a bridge because I thought that was the only way out for me. She paused, allowing herself to compose herself from tearing right there. "What did I do to make you despise us so much?" Anvil looked to the floor with shame and guilt. Perhaps he had been too optimistic after talking with his brother. He stood to leave and walked towards the door, both not saying a word as he did so. After this encounter, Anvil would spend most of his time focused on the Hail Mary's training, helping it learn to obey commands and general fighting capability in the few spars they had. Still, the conversation he had with his mother lingered in his mind, a constant reminder of his failure and inadequacy as a son. "Are you really surprised?" the voice in his head said. "I mean, he did call her a pet. That one made him very mad, as the thing he would call a pet was the Hail Mary, at which his mother was not like at all." To help fix at least some of his problems, he began regularly teaming up and talking to his brother, as before he had mostly kept his distance. Here, Invincible would talk to him about his last few missions to from Cecil, his adventure beyond the stars, and the identity of the baby that was in their house. Momentarily, a flash of anger rose in Anvil, as the thought that their dad had gone off to hook up with a bug and sire a child left a bad taste in his mouth. Invincible did slightly share this sentiment, but reminded his brother that the child had nothing to do with his conception, and thus shouldn't be blamed for their father's actions. "He's only a kid, man. We can't blame him for this." Anvil only nodded in agreement. Deciding to change the subject, Invincible began regaling how hard the missions Cecil had him on were, thinking that perhaps his brother went through similar, if not harder, missions. "Honestly, man, I'm surprised you did this work with so long without a vacation. I'm 4 months in and I already want to quit." To which Anvil explained that he took breaks quite often actually, residing on the same island the Hail Mary now lived on. It was a quiet sanctuary of natural life, a place he could go to after the roars and battle against monsters. Invincible was a bit shocked at this, as he believed his brother had been an endless machine of war, no stop in his mission. Anvil, humorously, only said, "I may be an alien, but I am only human." They both chuckled at the clever wordplay. They then moved on to Invincible's academic life, which caught Anvil off guard at first, with him saying how he went off to college and how he and Amber had gotten a lot closer, but before he could continue, Anvil would butt in. "Why would you do college if you have these powers? In any case, you will probably outlive most of these professions on Earth, so the likelihood of you actually using those skills would be a bit pointless. Especially now with the Viltrumites just around the corner. I mean, what are you going to do against that? That was at least how Anvil saw it. Anything that didn't involve protecting the world was beneath his time, and while he didn't have a problem with a relationship, he saw it similarly as a distraction from work. So just an average workaholic, really. Invincible outlined the short-sightedness of such a view, noting that without people to fight for, people to protect, why did he fight at all? Anvil tried to respond, but Invincible continued. I mean, it's why you came back for us. For me, so you could protect us. That left Anvil with much to think about. Perhaps he had been too harsh about what he considered weak behavior. While the two brothers were catching up, someone was preparing for an apocalyptic purge of the world to come. Dinosaurus, a mad half-dino, half-abomination, stirred in his laboratory, staring up at his greatest creation yet, cackling wildly that soon the creature would have many siblings, and that together they would bring balance to the world as it should have been, revealing a massive test tube with a menacing black-scaled monster that gleamed with unnatural power. Weeks would pass as both Invincible and Anvil trained together, and after learning about his brother's fight with the Viltrumites, he wanted both of them prepared for the next time that would happen, so that when they returned, they would be ready. While at the same time, Cecil and his people had been tracking down a peculiar set of crime sprees all over the world. Multiple museums being broken into and scores of bones stolen for an undetermined purpose. Bones for a T-Rex, Spinosaurus, Pentaceratops, and many, many more. It was unusual, but not at all surprising, as the value for such bones would be astronomical in price. Despite this though, Cecil had a feeling that there was more to this than what meets the eye. For starters, why had the thief stolen a specific skeleton from each museum? If they had wanted to make the most amount of money from this operation, they would have stolen all the bones from these exhibits. Yet they had only stolen a specific allotment of bones to get away with. What was more, the culprit was found to not even be human. Evidence, slim it was able to discover DNA prints on the scene that pointed to the thief being reptilian in nature. This clue would help the GDA lock down the identity of this thief, narrowing it down to two suspects, the Lizard League and Dinosaurus. Both groups used and were infused with lizard DNA, meaning either or maybe even both had to do with these crimes. He resounded to send the Guardians of the Globe to handle the League, while Invincible and Anvil would deal with Dinosaurus. But before he could put these plans into motion, news from satellites in space warned them that a massive ship was coming to Earth. And with all attempts at communication failed, he called upon the Guardian, Anvil, Invincible, Adam Eve, and other heroes to come to the GDA base. While at the same time, the Lizard League also launched a surprise attack on a missile silo in order to take control of its nuclear weapons. It was a mess, and the timing couldn't have been worse. To combat this, Anvil, Invincible, Adam Eve, and the Guardians of the Globe would go confront the massive spaceship, while the rest of the weaker Guardians, like Rexplode, Duplicate, and Shrinking Ray, would deal with the Lizard League, leaving Dinosaurus to be left for now. Anvil would get a sudden call back to base in order to deal with an imminent threat. Coincidentally, Invincible was with him, and both communicated that the two had been summoned, reasoning that whatever they were about to be told would not be anything good. When they arrived at base, they would meet Cecil, as well as the entire Guardians of the Globe, in order to be debriefed about their new mission. Anvil and Invincible would both be called to head to space and identify why a space station was on the way to their planet, and, if hostile, destroy it. They would be joined by Immortal, Adam Eve, Black Samson, Bulletproof, Shapesmith, and Robot, while the rest went to fight the Lizard League. Immortal and Adam Eve expressed displeasure at working with Anvil, as Immortal had personal beef with Omni-Man, and thus Omni-Man's eldest, and Atom Eve was not about to work with someone who had allowed someone to beat their own brother to near death. Cecil would clarify, though, that this wasn't a choice. It was an order. They would work together for this, and they would not cause any problems between each other. Shooting a glance at Anvil, all three agreed to Cecil's demand, and were all sent to the station. The ride up to the space station was an awkward one, as both Immortal and Adam Eve would keep staring at Anvil with judging eyes before looking away in disgust. While mad, Anvil realized that if he spoke out, it would only cause a fight to break out between each other, so he kept his mouth shut for now. Invincible would also try and talk to Eve about his brother's change, and how he really was fighting for Earth now. That isn't why I don't like your brother, Oliver. It's because of what he did to you, and the fact that you're just fine with it doesn't make it any better. Invincible explained that of course he was still upset with Anvil, but he also saved his life, and he had come back to make amends. Isn't that worth something, Eve? Invincible said. Despite his words, she still remained skeptical of his brother's intentions. Finally, they made it to a landing bay in the ship, and with a look of surprise, found Martians within it. The Martians then explained why the ship was out here. It had been transporting a large colony of parasites native to their world, called the Sequids. Creatures that could infect any organic life by touching them, being led by a host that could direct the swarm. Already being told this by Shapesmith, the group would ask where the host was, intending to cut the head off the snake. Once directed to where the swarm was, they immediately rushed into battle. Anvil, with his incredible strength, let out a massive sound clap, knocking scores of Sequids away and smashing them into the surrounding walls. Together, both Anvil and Invincible made a path through the Sequid swarm, locating the host and flying right towards him, before a massive blob of Sequids smashed into them, intending to drown the two in a sea of flesh. But they underestimated their enemy's strength, and in a quick burst, the two shot up through the blob and started demolishing each wave of aliens. Thanks to their and the efforts of the rest of their team, Robot would eventually be able to create a device that would remove the Sequids from their host, disrupting their signal and allowing them to escape. Anvil would put his arms around his brother, impressed by his increase in speed and his decisive actions in the fight. He also quietly admired the rest of the team's strength and how they handled themselves in this mission. Eventually, they made their way to the launch bay, where they were met by the Martians and their ruler, who congratulated them on their victory, but asked that the traitor Shapesmith be handed over to face judgment for allowing the Sequids to gain a host and kill their people. Despite Anvil's protest, saying Shapesmith should face justice, the rest decided to save Shapesmith's life and make an explosive escape. Once back on the planet, Anvil argued with his brother, saying they should have left Shapesmith and that it was the right thing to do. Invincible, however, shot back, saying how Shapesmith hadn't intentionally brought such catastrophe and had only wanted to experience life off his planet. Anvil was unmoved, citing his brother's innocent view as a weakness. Shapesmith had broken a law, and for that, he had gotten a lot of people killed. And instead of allowing his people to get justice, they instead helped him escape. This left Invincible a bit stunned, leaving him to think on his actions. Moving further into the base, Anvil would detail their mission to Cecil and the success at saving the pilot and stopping the invasion. Cecil congratulated him on their success. Walking down a hallway, Anvil asked about the other team's success in their mission, to which Cecil gave a sigh of distress. Sadly, most of them are in critical condition or dead. That surprised Anvil, because the Lizard League were a bit of a joke and couldn't possibly have caused that much of a mess. Yet they had. Glancing into the medical wing, he saw the semi-alive bodies of both Rexplode and Shrinking Ray on a medic bed, with broken bones and a hole through Rex's head. This sight saddened Anvil a little too, his surprise. He felt bad seeing his colleagues like this. This feeling of empathy was quite new for him, as he never really cared for the lives of others before this, except maybe his brother after his fight with Battle Beast. He realized that not only had his courage come back, but also bits of his humanity came back too, after his self-imposed exile, which brought a bit of warmth into his heart despite the unnerving scene. Later, Anvil would apologize to his brother about his earlier comment, to which his brother actually apologized. He had come to the conclusion that his brother was perhaps right. Maybe they should have let justice prevail in the end. Anvil, though, said that regardless, he should have been more calm about it and not so harsh on his brother for his feelings. Seeing that he might need a breather, he told his brother that he was going to the island to get some sleep, and if he needed him, he was only a call away. His brother, wanting to relax himself, told him that he was going to meet Amber in a few hours and wouldn't mind introducing him to her so that she might know all his family. Anvil gave a warm smile back, saying that he would love to meet the person that could put up with his brother as he had, then turned away and flew off. Hours passed, and Anvil let the beating sun hit his skin. The pain was extremely minimal. Sunburn was something of a myth to him, as despite however long he stayed in the sun, his skin never really turned even a shade pink in the heat. Still, it was calming, and the sandy shore provided a nice warm surface to rest his body on. Looking out across the sea, he spotted the Hail Mary in its routine hunting spot, intending to stay very still until, BAM! It struck, and a massive humpback whale slid nicely into its gigantic mouth. It then made its way over to Anvil and suddenly dropped the whale's massive tail at his feet, wanting to share its meal with its master. Anvil, amused by the creature, flew up and patted it on its head, showing kindness to the creature after its display of loyalty. Resounding that his chill out was over, he instead decided to play with the Hail Mary. Grabbing one of the massive trees on the island, he flung the log a great distance and watched as the massive creature raced towards it in order to snatch it back. Quickly locating it with its long tentacles, it sped right back to its master and dropped it on the ground, wanting him to throw again. This went on for quite a while. Anvil was content in this simple game and enjoyed not having to work or feel guilty for betraying the world. The only thing on his mind was... Suddenly his communication chip sprang on and an exasperated voice came through the line. "You better get your ass off that island. We got a Vilchmite at our door and we've got no one to push her out." And that is where I will leave this for today. Sorry again for the long wait. I know it's been a really long time. I've just moved to uni and have now been trying to sort out my schedule with work and videos, and a massive video in the works that was supposed to come out but now can't and probably won't for a while. So please just be happy I decided to get this out first, because I know a lot of people have been asking for it. I also just want to thank everyone for more than 500 subscribers. Yeah, baby! I would love to see it. The goal is finally met. I am vindicated. Thank you all for this. In truth, I didn't think we'd get to this point so quickly in only about 2 years. But thank you, really. I can't express how happy this actually makes me. So again, thank you. Okay, I'm repeating myself. I will try and get the next video out at a much more scheduled time, so expect the next one to come out probably end of November. Hopefully nothing else comes up and I just get it done, so we'll see. But no promises if I don't make it as well. Despite that, I will still be making videos. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to keep up with this. As you're probably noticing, they're going to be a lot longer in length to make up for like the less frequent time I can upload. And then yeah, so next video will probably be a Troll Hunters video, and then the episode after will probably be, what will I do? I will do probably another part 4 of this series, which I will just spoil now. It's gonna be freaking awesome. And then yeah, next year, who knows? Like I said last time, there could be a spiky chair involved, you know, we'll see. So look out for that, and without further ado, may the glory of Merlin be with you always.